Alright, hey, what's up guys? It's Dell here, and today we're going to be checking out the latest addition to the War of the Gods lineup from Cang-Toys with the SUSANOO. Starting off here with the unboxing of the SUSANOO, we have a huge and fantastic looking box with some great artwork on the front of it. On the sides of the box, we have some extra details of the kit, showing off everything you'll find inside and other great stuff. Now getting it open and everything out of their bags, we are greeted with a total of 28 runners. Our instructions: our cardboard insert for the action base along with water slides, and our metal inner frame parts in a single little red painted runner. Naturally, before we start building, we have to take a look at our instructions. First up is an overview of the kit, and then it shows off the inner frame and the build up to the final model, which I will note here, even though here it lists steps 1, 2, and 3, when actually building the model kit, there are no individual steps. You just build up the inner frame and outer armor at the same time, so not really a MGEX or a Perfect Great Unleashed style of build here. Then we have some examples of the kit posed up, and of course our list of runners and parts to be sure to go through and check and make sure you have everything before you start building. And then we jump right into the build, which we'll notice that it does indeed list the runners we'll need for each part. Now for the build and aesthetics of the SUSANOO. With this kit utilizing a metal inner frame, this dramatically cuts down the build time, as that's an entire section we don't really build up. The SUSANOO features a good plastic quality and has good undergating for the most part. Some of the painted gold and chrome parts will show nubs, but all the rest are undergated or hidden with smart part placement. The parts layering here is pretty good as well, with gold and gray parts popping through the armor to accent it very nicely. The metal parts are nice and tight at the moment. I'm curious to see how they hold up through the review and over time, as the previous release Yandi got pretty floppy in the torso. But so far, fit and finish overall is an improvement over the previous release, and I hope to see them continue to improve as they have many more kits planned for this War of the God line. There were no major issues of the build to note, as the SUSANOO went together super smoothly without any hiccups, as I just flew through the build process. Before I knew it, I was done. As for the aesthetics of the SUSANOO, this is my biggest pro so far. I think this kit looks fantastic, from the color scheme of mostly white, dark blue, and a very light purple, almost lavender color, highlighted by all that painted gold with that tiny splash of red on the front of the torso. It's just super clean and regal. And just like the Yandi, this is a heavily fantasy-based mecha, the SUSANOO being named after the Japanese god of storms and seas, or the ability of the Uchiha clan in the anime Naruto if you're a weeb like me. I feel like this really captures that Japanese deity vibe, and as a Deathside fan, I love the pointy feet. But this is still really toned down and not so over the top or pointy as other hyper fantasy based mecha designs, which I love. I love my mononuclear kits, but I know for some people those are just too much for them. But a line like this might be a nice middle ground for some people to enjoy. But now to some size comparisons so we can see how the SUSANOO will stand out in your collection. So the SUSANOO comes in at a head height of 20 centimeters or 7.87 inches. Here it is next to the Fat Cat RX-78-2, the Master Grade Gundam Mark II, their previous release of the Yandi, our last review of the Caesar Works Lycoris, the Mechacore Charon, Mechacore Oberon, Master Grade Zaku 2, Master Grade Hainu Verka, the 1100 Mosho Masume Dante, and the Shingen Takeda. Alright, so getting here into the articulation, I'm going to go ahead and just remove the backpack to make this a little bit easier on us. Starting here with the head, you got your stand... Oh no. The head here does not like to stay on very well, but I mean, you get your average head articulation here. Here on the arms, like I was saying before, the metal frame is extremely tight, so you really want to like brace the part before you go to move it. But we can get a full 360 there. We do get a pretty good butterfly joint. A little bit back too. We can move the shoulder independently of the arm, and this little part right here can move. And then we can also get the arm up almost 90 degrees if we get, there we go. If we move this out of the way, we get the arm all the way up. We can also get a swivel there on the arm. We get a not so the elbow joint is double jointed, but it doesn't go all the way up. It's a little restricted. We got this little part here on the arm we can move around. It's like a little arm and stuff like that. And the hands are on ball joints, but they have a wrist joint in them, so we can get it up pretty good. Move both arms out of the way. So on the chest here, we got the usual twist here. We got an ab crunch forward and back a little bit. This little part here can pop open, and down in there, really hard to see, but there is a pilot figure down in there. Here on the side skirts, we got these right here on a ball joint, and they can lift up some, but is limited by the torso. We got the front skirts here that can come up, move, over, and out, away a little bit, but once again, it's a little limited. Got this big back skirt here that can lift up quite a good ways. Then here on the leg, we do have a leg that we can go up about yay far. We can get that bend on the knee for some armor separation. And then we can get it out about yay far, but it's going to be limited by that hip skirt. And we can go back pretty good ways. And we can also rotate it a little bit here. And we do have a drop down hip joint. I just forget how we do it, because the instructions really don't say. I think it's drop down. Yeah. Okay, it is drop down, but just barely. You can't see that. But there's barely a drop down joint in there. Down here on the leg, we got... Now, I will say, the ankles on this kit are a little weak, but we get an action base, so it's not terrible. But we do get some crazy ankle pivot here. The little armor here on the ankle can move a little bit. These can't move, they're stationary. But we do get a pretty good bend down like that. We have a little toe bend here. And we can get up that far. But if we come around here on the back of the leg, we got some panels here we can move. With some more gold. Little thrusters. But yeah, fairly okay articulation. Wish the ankles were a little bit stronger, but like I said, we do get an action base to help with that, so not the end of the world. But I will say that the main improvement here is the chest right here is so much tighter than the Yandi. So I'm really glad to see that, and I'm hoping on the Baphomet we see even more improvements from this frame. With this main problem here is the ankles, and this knee right here is a little loose. But other than that, I'm fairly impressed. Alright, getting into the accessories, we of course start off with our hands here, and we get a pair of relaxed open hands. a pair of weapon holding hands, a pair of closed fist, and another set of weapon holding hands. As you can see on this kit, I actually used a lot of the water slides actually. And I will say these are probably some of the most fragile water slides I've ever handled. I mean, they would rip just trying to take it off the paper. Luckily, they include a lot of extras, so I did have enough to make it through most of the kit. So yeah, definitely going to want to use your mark setter and softer and top coat this, which I haven't yet because it's cold out here and I can't. But none have peeled off as I've been handling it, so that's cool, I guess. But yeah, putting them on there, ripped. So many of them. Here we have the backpack, and as you can see here, I'm missing a part. There's another gold tooth here that I don't have, and that's because it fell into the abyss that is the carpet, and I just cannot find it. But there isn't much going on here, besides we can move the head up a little bit. That has a gimmick for later. Got these little parts here that we can move. And you don't have to use these little flame effect parts. They have like little clear blue pieces in there. But, I mean, why would you not use these? It looks freaking sick. But this just has your standard little tab here for the back. Right, see right there. And just go boop. And as you saw from the beginning of the video, he can stand with his backpack. So that's a W in my book. And we're just gonna move him over here. We got these two other little fire effect part, or fire lightning effect parts, whatever you want to call them. And these are going to be for, see if we can take this off, please. Brother. There we go. These eyes here, we can get these taken off. And replace them with these. Come on. You can go in there. I believe in you. Yeah, no, this should just go in. Yeah. It should really just go in. There we go. I just wasn't doing it right. Take the other eye out. That in there. Like so. Get these pieces back here. We need to thread this horn back through the hole. Did it too far because it can just pop out the front for some reason and doesn't actually catch on anything. You know, small things. Issues with this kit so far? Just tiny things. All right, there we go. Got that on there, and man, I have to say that looks cool. Let's get some UV on that. Oh yeah, very nice. All right. Up next, we have some katanas here with very shiny blades. These are a fingerprint magnet to hell, but they do look very nice. And we do get a third other blade here, but you only get two handles, so you have to choose. And the only difference between these two are the same length, and this one's a little shorter. So there's that. And attaching these to the hands are a little bit different. So what we do is we take it off here at the hilt, like that, and then we got a weapon holding hand, and we slide that up in there. I think it's the wrong weapon holding hand. There's a difference. No, I had the right one. Okay, we're good. We're good. Goes up there in the hand. And then we just grab this and we put it back on. Like so. But let's say we don't want to use these. Going to take the hand off. Here on the side skirts, we got these units right here, and we just slide that in like that, and we can of course move these a little bit independently of the hip skirt, and of course we get a spot on the other one, so we can store that one in there as well. So yeah, very cool katanas. Alright, here we have these two other sword units here. And these have a flip-up handle, which we'll get into why that has that for in a little bit. And these ones are much simpler to attach into the hand. We'll just take it and slide it through the hand. Just like that. No removable fingers for any accessory on this kit, so that's awesome. Alright, and when these are not being used, we can... It's easier if we just take this off, but we can just put this in here, and we put it in there, and lock it in like that. Yeah. Okay. It really just helps if you take the whole thing off. That I don't get the science behind that, but hey, I mean, there we go. It's weapon storage, and it's falling off. What did I do differently, bro? There we go. I did it. We're good now. Alright, we have another sword. And you see this one, we got some more of that chrome effect around the actual, like, where the sharp edges would be. So it's a pretty cool looking sword in general. And how we attach this is we're going to remove that gold piece there. That's the closed fist hand. And we just slide this in there. And close her up. And so we use that sword. But whenever we don't want to use this one, we get back the SUSANOO here. And we take the sword and just slide it here. And you store that sword on the back, meaning we can store every weapon on the kit, which is great. We don't see enough weapon storage to store everything the kit comes with on the model itself. So that's going to be a big pro for me. Alright, so we have another sword, but we have to make this one. So we'll need these three parts, this little guy, and this even smaller little guy. So first we get these and flip the handles up. And then up here are two tabs on each side of it, and we just put those together, and then somehow manage to get my big fingers in this little tight area. Well, I found that works best is just slide it on one side, and then I can put these together, slide it down momentarily. That way I have it. This is a little finicky, I'm not gonna lie. There we go. I got it in there. And then we take this part and we're going to get in there, poke it up, push forward to get that locked into place, like so. There you go, a little off center. Alright, that's enough for that. We grab this and these two pieces, and we just take that around the center of the hilt. Push these, lock them together, and then we just take this and slide it through. Oh, that's a snug fit. I don't like that. Doesn't matter which way it goes. There we go. Just get loosened up. But yeah, that's tight. Well, I mean, I guess I'd rather it be tight than, you know, too loose. Okay. Get this back where it belongs. Lock it into place. Get this, slide it through again. That part fell off. It's okay though, we can just reattach it. At least I want to. I want to? Oh my god. I feel like this is way more fiddly than it needs to be. Why does it not want to go in? Pretty sure you're supposed to tab in, but my part keeps wanting to come up and like split. Oh well. This not executed that well. But regardless of that, I'm curious to see if we can even hold it up. Because that's usually our main issues when it comes to big weapons. Is that the kit can't even hold it. So let's get your hand on here. Boop. Get our kit. Plug her into the hand. And... no. It's too heavy for the... I mean, if we can get it, like, posed up right, it can kind of hold it. But, yeah, you can see it's just going to weigh it down. It's too big. And there's no extra arm to help hold it. So, I mean, I will probably not be using this mode. And plus, that's just going to make the joints wear out on the wrist over time as well. So, yeah. I could have taken and left this part. And it's just finicky to put together, man. Like, definitely not this kid's highest point. Yeah, there we go. We get a beam effect part here. And you do get two of these. I think the cats have done something with my other one. Don't let your cats near your Gundam. So, and what we do with this here is we got two tabs on each side. So we just take this and slide it in to the mouth here of this articulated, almost like Ultron-esque dragon arm. Get a bit there like that. This is really going to be hard to see. I know it is. Alright, there goes the SUSANOO on the ground. Okay, I'm just gonna take that off. Okay. Because the way you have to do it is like slide it here onto a little part in between. But that just wants to move on me. Please. Okay, we got it in there. Then we simply just tab it in, closed, like that. And something I should know about the blue one, the clear blue in this kit, it is fairly UV reactive. So we'll get some nice glowage. Alright, come back here. And we can just peg this back into, and it fell off. It's not a video of mine if we don't have some complications, you know? But yeah, you can have that activated, and we can also, this has a little arm on it, so we can just move this any which way we want it to, really. So, very cool accessory. And a cool thing you can do is, since the not biceps, but the lower arms here have holes on both sides, we can literally just take the other one. I dropped it. Oh, man, stop bumping the camera, dude. But we can have that mounted, so we can have, theoretically, if I can find the other blade, you can have these both on one arm. So, just a cool little extra. Alright, up next is going to be our action base adapter and action base. So, for starters, we have this little part here that is going to... It's unfortunately going to go up here into between his legs. Okay. Let's drop more parts, why don't we? We just take this, and we plug it up in there. And then we get this part here that is going to... There we go. Oh, yeah. So slides into there. We got our action base adapter, which... FY, these little parts here on the side of the ankle, they like to fall off. Alright, before getting that attached, looking here at our action base here, we have this cool cardboard insert here. We, of course, got our standard issue raise up, lock in. So, and then the part that always gives me the most trouble is trying to push on these parts to unlock the little part here. Still locked that way, so is it all the way this way that's unlocked? No, it's still just locked. Cang-Toys. I had I had the opposite issue with the Yandee's action base, to where it just stays unlocked, but this one I can't get to unlock. Oh, got to move a little bit. Action base sucks. Okay, it's not that great, but we can take this and mount the SUSANOO into there. Let me just raise up my camera. There he is, up in the sky. So yeah. So action base, not that great. I also wish it wasn't set up like this to where it can only go up in between the legs. That meaning you can't use the base just to have him in a standing pose with back support. So you just have to have him in the air, or like push the base up against his back to help balance. But I mean, hey, at least it's included, I guess. Alright, here we are once again in the review, and what are my final thoughts on the Cang-Toys War of the Gods SUSANOO? I think while it has a couple of drawbacks, mainly being the weak ankles and the poor action base, which action base for the Yandee hasn't held up great either, so I definitely want to see them work on their action base design. But overall, the kit itself is an improvement over the previous release. The inner frame is much more solid. I would like to see them maybe not do super big combiner weapons. That two-handed sword is just not it, Chief. I much prefer them in their split apart forms, but hey, the option's there if you want to like glue everything together and just really solidify it. And then again, that might be my copy. I know some other people reviewed it, had issues with the backpack. Meanwhile, I have 0 with the backpack. But I mean, if you are a fan of this kind of design, that high fantasy but not over the top, like really pointy motor nuclear kits, stuff like that, it's going to be a big recommend. Especially, I just love the color scheme. And I mean, the fact it's based off SUSANOO, and you got all like the little ornate designs and the gold pieces on the kit. I mean, it just looks awesome. So, I mean, if you're into that, definitely pick this kit up and just manage with the action base. Or, I mean, it stands with the backpack. So, I mean, we could really just get it in a standing pose on the cardboard cutout and just look really cool. But just as always, that's all the time we have today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you really appreciate the content I'm doing here and want to see more, be sure to check out the channel. And until next time, guys, y'all take care. I can't talk. The parts learning here is pretty good. I just keep entering it and delivering it wrong. I got this. I need to lock in. The parts loading here is pretty good as well, with the gold and gray parts popping through the armor to X. Parts loading here is pretty good as... Oh my god. The parts layering here is pretty good, as well with... Austin, help me. Please!